he really had to wrestle with the idea that he's in an industry where not only can that happen, but it had happened to him.
D'Angelo's passing has sent shockwaves through the music world, but beneath the sorrow lies a story that feels far more complex than it first appears. For years, Kanye West has dropped cryptic remarks that seem to circle back to the same idea, that D'Angelo's silence wasn't simply artistic withdrawal, but something forced upon him. His long absence between Voodoo and Black Messiah wasn't a coincidence. It was the mark of an artist caught in the crossfire of fame, expectation, and an industry that doesn't always play fair. Behind the soulful genius was a man fighting personal demons while navigating a system that often punishes authenticity. His retreat wasn't just a fall from grace. It was a quiet rebellion against forces determined to control him. Behind the scenes, D'Angelo's manager orchestrated a secret maneuver with Clive Davis, cutting a deal that kept Angie and D'Angelo from landing on the same label. Aware of their complicated history, the manager stipulated that if D'Angelo signed, Angie had to be pushed out. It's a stark example of how personal vendettas and power plays can shape careers in the music industry. Kanye has long hinted at the darker undercurrents in this world. The rituals, the calculated humiliations, the whispered sacrifices that take place far from the public eye, where fame often comes at a hidden, human cost. Though D'Angelo was never literally sacrificed, many believe the music industry actively undermined him for refusing to conform to its rules. The story takes an even darker turn when you consider Angie Stone, D'Angelo's former partner, who began revealing the industry's inner workings, naming names, shortly before her untimely death in a suspicious car accident earlier this year. D'Angelo's journey began in the mid-90s with Brown Sugar, a record that redefined soul music. He wasn't just another R&B voice. He revived the essence of 1970s soul and transported it into the 90s with unmatched authenticity. Voodoo arrived in 2000, cementing his place as one of the most gifted musicians of his generation. What made him extraordinary was how he achieved it, playing most instruments himself, pouring genuine emotion into every note, and refusing to churn out formulaic hits the industry demanded. For artists like D'Angelo, fame brings its own storm. The pressure to represent, to become a figurehead for entire communities. That in itself is a massive life shift, one most people can't comprehend. But D'Angelo's refusal to compromise his artistry put him on a collision course with the system. The music business thrives on control, on molding talent to fit a marketable formula: flashy parties, seductive singles, image management. D'Angelo rejected all of it. His deep spirituality and commitment to meaningful music clashed with the industry's agenda. Figures like Clive Davis and Sean Diddy Combs, known for their exclusive inner circles and high-stakes industry maneuvering, allegedly wanted D'Angelo to join their world, to play the game. He refused. Angie Stone later hinted in an interview that years after their separation, she uncovered how D'Angelo had been pressured to bend, and resist he did. Even his closest friends recognized the cost of his integrity. One insider, with direct knowledge of industry secrets, revealed truths that were both shocking and illuminating, a glimpse into a system that doesn't reward authenticity, only compliance. D'Angelo's legacy, then, isn't just his music. It's a testament to standing firm in a world determined to reshape you. I'm going to share the story, but fair warning, the industry doesn't play fair. This isn't Angie Stone's biography, but her experiences intersect with a much darker side of the music world. As for D'Angelo, it's unclear whether he ever got pulled into that shadowy world or if he managed to shut it down before it consumed him. What we do know is that during that period, he spiraled substance struggles, weight changes, legal troubles. On the surface, it looked like personal turmoil, but beneath it all, the pressures were systemic. Industry insiders hint that executives tried to draw him into compromising situations. Think high-profile parties and collaborations orchestrated less for art than for control. This is the essence of what people mean when they talk about industry sacrifices. They don't need to harm you physically. They can wear you down, humiliate you publicly, and quietly erase you from the spotlight if you refuse to comply. Kanye West has been sounding these alarms for years, pointing to artists who were subjected to such pressures. The rituals, the punishments for speaking out, the cautionary examples made of those who resist. D'Angelo entered the industry with revolutionary talent and emerged fundamentally changed. Behind the scenes, something clearly made him wary of participating fully in that world. And then there's Angie Stone. Just as she began naming names and exposing wrongdoings, calling out powerful entities like Universal Music Group, her life ended in a mysterious car accident. Her brave attempts to speak the truth cast an even darker shadow over the already opaque operations of the music industry.
40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving.
Angie Stone refused to stay quiet, and just 7 months before D'Angelo's death, she was suddenly gone. When you connect the dots between D'Angelo's struggles and Angie's warnings, a troubling pattern emerges. The music industry exploits artists, particularly Black artists, pressuring them to compromise their values to make them more controllable. When they resist, the consequences can be severe. Careers are derailed, reputations blacklisted, and in some cases, worse. D'Angelo, in contrast, was guided by deep religious faith. He wanted his music to reflect his beliefs and his personal truth. The first time I heard him, it struck me immediately. This was music that could have resonated in a Black church, a Pentecostal sanctuary, alive with gospel fervor. That foundation shaped everything he did. On stage, he carried that spiritual authority in every performance. Before each show, he and his band, the Vanguard, would pray together. They would begin with an old spiritual, letting it flow through the prayer circle, setting the tone, and summoning the spirit before stepping into the spotlight. This authenticity, however, clashed with industry expectations. Record labels and executives were looking for hits, marketable images, and sexualized content, formulaic pieces designed for profit rather than soul. D'Angelo's devotion to his craft and his refusal to compromise his beliefs put him at odds with the machinery around him. His music wasn't just entertainment. It was an extension of his faith, a deliberate act of artistic integrity in a system that often rewards anything but. D'Angelo wasn't just a man singing about love or staying true to his heart. He carried a spiritual energy that drew people in. The crowds, especially women, would swarm him, grabbing at him so fiercely during performances that it could become dangerous. To protect him, the team came up with a clever solution: slits in the back of his shirts, so if anyone yanked, the fabric would give way without choking him. But the challenges went far beyond physical safety. Kanye has long highlighted the extreme control exerted over artists, including contracts that forbid singing or rapping about Jesus or anything spiritual. Allegedly, D'Angelo was asked to sign one of these agreements, literally putting restrictions on his faith, curbing the very essence of his music. While working in the studio, people would freely shout the name of Jesus, celebrating the spiritual energy of the work. Yet, in some corners of the industry, contracts explicitly prohibit such expressions. Rock Nation, for example, is said to have clauses barring artists from referencing Christ in their songs. This is the real meaning behind the so-called Illuminati in music. Most people imagine secret societies and ritualistic sacrifices, but more often it's a metaphor for the invisible power structures shaping the industry. Executives, managers, and legal agreements dictating what artists can say, how they appear, and even the spiritual content of their music. D'Angelo's struggle wasn't just artistic. It was a battle to maintain his faith, authenticity, and creative freedom in a system determined to control every aspect of his expression. D'Angelo's journey exemplifies the hidden machinery of the music industry: high-pressure parties, exclusive inner circles, and contracts that demand obedience. Refuse to play by the rules, and the consequences are swift: career isolation, public humiliation, or even complete derailment. But D'Angelo was more than a gifted musician. He was a man striving to stay true to himself in a system that punished integrity. For decades, he resisted the forces trying to shape him. The cost was steep: blackballing, extended periods away from the spotlight, relentless scrutiny, and whispers of behind-the-scenes pressure. When you add Angie Stone's warnings, her untimely death, and Kanye's exposés on the industry's rituals, a stark picture emerges. The danger isn't literal sacrifice, it's symbolic. The industry demands surrendering creative freedom, mental peace, and career momentum from anyone unwilling to compromise. Yet, despite these obstacles, D'Angelo's legacy remains untouchable. From Brown Sugar to Black Messiah, his music continues to resonate, inspire, and shape generations of artists. One fan captured it perfectly on X. After Brown Sugar, D'Angelo wrestled with writer's block for years, poured himself into voodoo, endured over a decade of personal struggles, and then delivered Black Messiah. His life and work prove that the most extraordinary art often emerges after seasons of hardship. Through it all, D'Angelo's lessons endure, reminding us that integrity, resilience, and soulful expression can survive even the harshest storms. D'Angelo's journey isn't just a story of triumph and artistry, it's also a cautionary tale. In the music industry, raw talent can only take you so far. Standing firm in your beliefs, refusing to compromise, can come with a steep cost, sometimes taking years, even decades, to fully manifest. The industry is relentless, and even the most gifted, spiritually grounded, and principled artists can face immense personal and professional consequences for holding their ground. Now, I want to hear your take. Were the struggles D'Angelo faced mere misfortune, or part of a larger, systemic pattern of symbolic sacrifices in the music world? And with Angie Stone passing away just months before him, does it feel like coincidence, or something more? Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned. You won't want to miss the next story.